Back to Tech Dudes Weekly. I'm your host, Dave.
I'm Brian.
And today we're going to talk about, looks like the M1 iPad Pro turns 1 year old today. I have had one since it came out, but Brian, you bought one not too long ago, correct?
I did, actually, almost 1 year ago today. I bought it, I put it on pre-order and got it a few days into it. Matter of fact, I bought the 12.9 inch.
Yep, so that's the same one I have as well. And the big thing we were worried about when we bought it was, is the M1 going to be able to push the supposed, because this was before iOS 15 came out, was Apple going to be able to push that M1 in the iPad like they were going to do in the Macs? Well, iOS 15's out. They're talking about iOS 16 at some point, and I've yet to be able to just stress my iPad. I mean, have you done it on yours yet?
No, it's funny because I had, prior to my 12.9 inch, the 2021 version, I had a 10.5 inch iPad Pro. So it's going back a couple generations now.
Because I had the 11
2017, I think. I think it was 2017. And to be honest, I had no issue with the 2017 iPad. The only issue I had was I wanted a larger screen. So I went up to the 12.9 strictly because I use it on the road. I use the Apple Pencil to jot down notes and draw things that'll be eventually become Visio diagrams down the road. But I don't push it with any means. And as time goes on, I still, when I have to do anything productivity wise, I don't want a tablet. I want a computer again. And I have a MacBook Pro, and it does everything I needed to do. So, I mean, I still treat the iPad, I think at its core, it's a media consumption device.
Yeah.
And I still have a hard time tagging it. Is it a computer? Certainly for me, is not a desktop or a laptop replacement by any means.
No, and I know people. I mean, you've got the Magic Keyboard for it. You've got a Folio for it. But once you slap that Magic Keyboard on it, it's laptop weight.
It is. It actually feels heavier than my 14-inch MacBook Pro. I know they're probably within a few ounces, grams, or whatever we're measuring in today. Yeah. But again, if productivity-wise, the keyboard doesn't feel as nice as the keyboard on the MacBook. Windowing, is it okay? Yeah, I do take advantage of, split screens and stuff like that on the iPad, but, at 12.9 inches, it still feels really compressed. Even at 14 inches on the MacBook Pro, because I valued the ability to carry it. I didn't want something as big as the 16-inch. That was too much for me to take mobile. Yep. But when I come home, it's docked and it's plugged into a pair of 27-inch monitors.
That was me when I've got my Mac Mini. I had a MacBook Pro, and I've got my 12.9 inch. I'm like, okay, I'll just use the 12.9 while I'm traveling. Everything will be fine. And like you said, I kept going back to, I want my MacBook, and I can't figure out what Apple's trying to do with these devices. But to your point, that's what it is for me. It's a media consumption device. If I'm watching a movie somewhere remote, when I was traveling a lot on the airplane, I mean, for doodling stuff, I mean, I see artists use it all the time, but I just can't see this as the workhorse that Apple wants it to be.
But, and the funny thing is, I think as much as I appreciate certain things about my MacBook Pro, the 14-inch, in particular, all the ports, my SD card readers back there, my HDMI out, there's a number of USB-C or Thunderbolt, type connections. I miss those, and I find myself reaching for my MacBook almost in some senses because I don't need to grab all the dongles that I'm now sticking into an iPad.
Yep.
If I want to read an SD card, I got to bring an SD card reader. So, I mean, it's funny that Apple went and created a laptop, which I'm grateful for. Please, Apple, don't change it. I like having ports on my laptop. It was one of the reasons I thought about going back to Windows. But
because we were talking about Surfaces for a while.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And, again, Surface is not feature rich when it comes to, ports. But, their docking station is not bad. It's a hell of a lot cheaper than most. And if the Magic Keyboard, let me put it this way, if the Magic Keyboard had more than one USB-C sticking out of the side of it, and that one's only strictly for power. Now, if it had in the back of the hinge an SD card reader and a couple other things, HDMI out and stuff like that, now it would be a lot closer to somewhat of a replacement. Now, barring iOS versus macOS.
Yeah, and to your point on that too is if you look at it from a port selection, even if you had say, because I've done a little bit of video editing on the iPad, I don't like it with with the Apple Pencil or your fingers or whatever the case may be. But to your point, you just brought up a good thing is you don't have to carry any dongles. Even if you had on the Magic Keyboard, you would still have to carry, and I have one here like this. You still have to carry one of these for an SD card reader and some other stuff. So. I don't know.
And there's only one port that it'll work with. That port that's on the Magic Keyboard is not for data transfer.
Correct. It's only charging 100%. And a buddy of ours actually has a Magic Keyboard as well, and he says it drains the battery so bad trying to charge it.
Yeah, it definitely does. Nothing. I mean, there's a considerable difference. I mean, I could be sitting in a couple-hour meeting. I mean, you and I are in a lot of the same meetings together at a client's location. And if I'm using that Magic Keyboard, I'm watching the battery go down over time. The funny thing is, I don't see that same problem in my MacBook. I mean, again, the poor part of this is not to compare, the iPads to a MacBook, but that's what Apple's trying to tell you when they're shoving an M1 into an iPad. Let's take another jump. I think you read the same article. I think I read today was The Verge or one of them put out an article about what is the next iteration.
Oh yeah,
that 2022, maybe 2023, because I doubt they're going to drop an iPad in the end of the year because it'll compete with the MacBook Air in the same ways we've been just talking now. So I'm guessing March of next year. But it's bound to be an M2.
It's got to be an M2. They've already said there's going to be no mini LED 11-inch, which I don't understand why you're going to do mini LED on 11-inch. I mean, it's beyond me at that point. But there's a reference to it in there. It says the company is testing a similar MagSafe system for the iPad Pro.
I saw that.
Okay, great. Wireless charging will likely be slower than directly plugging in a charger on the iPad's Thunderbolt port, which will remain as part of the next models. I can't. I'm trying to wrap my head around why you want MagSafe on iPad Pro. That's got to be a hockey puck.
I have one reason why I could see you having that, and it's only if Apple builds it for reverse charging. If I can charge my iPhone off of my iPad, and still have my phone, which is my critical device when I'm mobile, then I sort of get it. Because I mean, it would have enough battery in it to charge an iPhone again.
Yeah, and here's the funny thing is they were talking about in the article, it says, according to our sources, and this is from 9to5Mac, according to our sources, the company has developed an iPad Pro prototypes with a larger Apple logo, similar to the one on the new MacBook Pro, but this one is made of glass. As a result, power will be transferred through the glass logo. The prototype has stronger magnets to prevent accidents and supports a stronger magnet to prevent accidents. Okay.
So I'm wondering if does it mean something like with the folio case here when I do the stand? Because I've had this have some issues, and unless you're careful with it, it also doesn't give it a lot of back push if you're having to try to do anything with.
Yep.
It's a 12.9. It's kind of an interesting leverage point if you're looking at tip.
Yep.
But here's the funny thing is how expensive the Portfolio case right now. I spent $99 on this Portfolio case. I mean, don't get me wrong, nice design. I love it. And I would probably buy another one. But $99. What is this made of? There's no way this costs $99 to make.
No, even to be leather, it wouldn't be $99.
So now if we're putting a MagSafe ring in the middle of it to transfer the MagSafe from the back of a glass iPad to this, how much more is this going to cost? $129, $149?
Yeah, and the question is, can the same MagSafe size that they're using on iPhones be used on that to give it the power it needs? Or they're going back to a hockey puck.
Well, it also tells me the Magic Keyboard now, is there going to be another iteration of that with MagSafe being able to pop on the back of the keyboard? Or am I plugging into the ports? Because now you're taking up ports again.
Yeah. And then they talk about they're still going to maintain two different sizes, 11-inch and 12.9, which is fine. That's on the Pro series. Processor and storage capabilities are already talking about an M2, which, I mean, I can't figure out why we're even M2 when you can't push an M1 to its maximum as it stands today. Why doesn't, and they're talking about iOS 16. They're also talking about going to 2 terabytes on these things. What is the, again, I don't understand what the use cases are for this other than what you and I are talking about, just media consumption.
Well, and even if you put a use case together with a final, let's say you had a Final Cut or something like that available for the iPad, because it's not currently available today, right? Final Cut, right? I didn't think so. Nothing. I still don't want to use this to do video editing.
No, me either.
Not unless it was something quick in the field. I mean, 0 ports. It's still not as comfortable as a real laptop. The windowing interface, I don't know, iOS. Granted, I'll buy an iPad. Apple will absolutely get my money. Will they get my money next year to replace this? No. I'll be in my 3-year cycle. Nothing, and because I went from 2017 to 21, so they're my 4-year cycle in that case. But because there's nothing compelling. I mean,
no, and even Apple talked about having iOS 15 to be able to really utilize the M1. That's never happened. Nobody out there has done it. Now they're talking about is iOS 16 coming out either end of this year or next year. Is that going to be the one to really stress it? No, because you're now going with an M2. This is my frustration right now with Apple is they're playing the specs game like everybody else, and it doesn't make any sense to me. Again, this goes back to our one of our videos we did is when is good enough good enough? I mean, they're trying to put M1s in everything, and I get it because I read an article a while back talking about how the way they cut their silica and the M1s that go on iPads and some of the other stuff are leftovers from the Ultras and the other stuff. But we don't need this stuff. And I mean, we're so far gone, you could probably go 5 generations on the M1 and still not need to change that processor.
Yep. Or start, push their partner community, start building stuff that would take advantage of that type of speed. And the funny thing is too is I think the 2021. This was what, 6 gigs of RAM. Is that what these had in it? I believe.
What was it? No, because you could get 8 or 16.
6 or 8. Okay, it was 8.
Yep.
8.
Because you went to 1 terabyte,
right.
You got the 16 gig.
Yeah, that's right. Which is ridiculous. But anyway, I'm not going to get started on that.
But they limit you to 6 gig. They don't let you go all the way up to 8.
That's what it was. I knew there was something about that. So, what software am I going to put on this that's going to push the processor that hard with that RAM limitation?
And I don't think you can because you probably overheat the device.
Well, I mean, even then, you're going to kill my storage. You're going to swap out to the storage?
Yeah.
I mean, it's an SSD. Let's be realistic.
Yeah, I just and again, we're at the M2, so are they going to change the frame again? Or are we going to have new accessories? And I didn't see anything about that in there. They talked about 2 terabytes, talking about the battery change on it, and the iPad Pro's 5G capabilities. Okay.
It's funny, and this is coming from 2 people that I buy a ton of Apple hardware. Uh-huh. I have the Apple Card. I have Apple everything. I probably couldn't survive without my watch being on me. Although it's charging right now. So, Apple, you want to fix something? More battery life in the watch would be awesome. But if you and I can't come up with a reason, I'd be hard pressed to say that there's really a good reason. Because I'm an Apple fan. I'm not a hater by any means.
Yeah, same way.
But I don't see where this is fitting any specific bill.
No, because they also they made up some pricing on here talking about the 2022, whether it's going to be an M1 or an M2 again, really doesn't matter. The 2 terabyte model, just the Wi-Fi model, will potentially be $21.99.
Yeah, to me, I'd rather give me my MacBook. Nothing, and I struggled with buying another one of these because my MacBook came out later, so that's probably why I have this and the MacBook. But I would have been fine with my larger iPhone screen and my MacBook.
Yeah,
I could deal without having this.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't like the spec game. I don't like trying to TikTok just like everybody else is doing. If there's a reason to change it, change it. But everybody is hooked on, I got to have the fastest thing, which you're not even pushing what you have today. Again, that goes back to one of our videos talking about when is good enough good enough. I'm with you. I don't think I'm going to refresh probably for another 2 more years. Even if an M2 comes out, I can't justify it. I'll put the money towards another Mac or MacBook or something like that.
Well, we have one of our best friends who's a high-end photographer. He does a lot of the same, similar stuff that we do. But he concentrates on photography. and I know he's not going to upgrade. And he has a 2018 iPad. He still has not found a reason to abandon this 2018.
He will get a new. He'll get a new MacBook before he'll do a new iPad upgrade.
Yep. No, he'll go to a 16-inch screen because I mean, again, he's a video or a photo editor. But
yep.
Yeah.
Agree. So do you think this is going to be part of our when's good enough series?
I think it needs to be. I think we have to have more conversations like that. If we look at some of our, the analytics we've seen on our videos that have come out, in which we very much appreciate everybody, watching our stuff,
yes,
subscribing, and continuing the conversation. The comments has been fantastic. But the one that I think struck the chord the most was when we compared the Apple Studio to the Samsung M8. And, if you're looking for bang for the buck, which one am I going to, is my money really going to get some form of, cost of ownership out of?
Yeah.
I think we have to have more of these conversations, and this one absolutely fits that bill.
Yeah, I think we appreciate everything that you guys are doing for us, supporting the channel, watching everything. Please share it with your friends, like and subscribe. The whole 9 yards everybody always talks about on YouTube. But you guys really love the M8 video. We're going to try to do more of that. Hopefully this is going to resonate like the M8 video did. And then give us some comments down below. What do you want to see next? What do you want to compare? Hopefully here soon we'll be able to do some more live hands-on kind of discussions around doing a product review or something like that. We'll see. But again, when is good enough? Good enough? I think I'm good right now.
Yeah, I think my 2021 model is going to be good enough for actually quite a few years. I think we'll have the same conversation as the 2021 M1 iPad is 2 years old, and we're going to have this exact same video coming out again.
Agree. Well, I think that's about it for this one. We appreciate everybody watching tonight and today, wherever you're going to be at your time zone. But again, please like and subscribe. Leave us some comments down below and tell us what you want to see next. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks a lot. Have a great night, y'all.
Bye.